Hello and welcome to Financial Deep Dive with CWT. My name is Caleb Tanner. I own financebycwt.com, which is a website where you can see a lot of blogs and stuff like that, all about the financial markets. And for today's podcast episode, I want to talk about, everyone in finance is already talking about the fact that Elon Musk has just tried to buy Twitter for $43 billion. And what I want to talk about is, I don't care about any the moral or political reasons, stuff like that behind it. What I really care about is this the right business decision for Twitter's board to make? Right? Is this what really benefits their shareholders? Should Twitter do this? I don't really want to talk about the politics, stuff like that behind it. I just want to talk about, does this make sense for Twitter? And, first off, I do wonder how Elon Musk plans to buy in the first place. Because here's the thing, yeah, he's worth, $270 billion, but it's not like he has that in a bank account. That's Tesla stock, SpaceX valuation. It's all those things together that give him a net worth of $270 billion. It's not that he just has that. So for him to get $43 billion, he kind of has to, one, trade Tesla stock, which I don't see him doing. And I feel like I don't see him selling $43 billion worth of Tesla stock. He could do that. Or perhaps take out a loan against his stock and get $43 billion that way, which I think that he could do that. And I think that's probably what he would do. But I do wonder, does that really make sense for him to do? Because, Twitter stock doesn't really do much. You know what I'm saying? It's not really a good, it's a stock that I would never buy. Twitter has historically been terrible at actually making money. I don't understand why they're so bad at making money. Facebook, social media app, and they are literally a cash cow of a business. But Twitter has really struggled monetizing the platform. So I feel like it's probably not a good decision on his part. To me, from a strictly business perspective, I understand that's not why he's doing it, but from a strictly business perspective, I feel like it makes no sense for Elon Musk to want Twitter in the first place. Because I really don't see him making that much of a return off of it. Yeah, there's some people that are going to buy the stock just because Elon is running it, assuming he did buy it. They'd buy it just because of that reason. But over a long period of time, can Elon Musk really figure out a way for Twitter to make money? I don't know. I don't see how he could, especially since historically he's been so against Zuckerberg, using data to monetize Facebook. Because the reality of the situation is, if you don't use data to monetize social media, your social media doesn't make any money. That's why all of them do it. And even though Twitter is doing it, they're really not making that much money. So without doing that, I really don't see how Twitter could perform well at all. But that aside, does this make sense for Twitter? Should Twitter themselves want to sell to Elon Musk? And honestly, I feel like they should be jumping on this deal 100%. Because think about it like this, right? For Elon to buy Twitter at a $43 billion valuation, that's a lot higher than what the market cap is currently trading at. They're making a good premium selling the stock now. And right now, do I believe that Twitter stock will ever become worth $43 billion on its own? Possibly, but I don't really see why that it would. Like I said, Twitter struggles to make money, and even though I know they have some more ideas coming soon, I really don't see them ever really making that much of a profit. And right now, their current valuation, I believe they'll probably fall lower than that. And I really don't think that. I think they could, and I think they might, but I feel like it'd be a long time, and it's definitely not certain that they would ever become worth a $43 billion market cap on its own. So if I own a significant amount of Twitter, and I see that someone's trying to buy my stock at quite a premium that I might not ever reach on my own, I would be, I'd be selling that right now. I'd be doing everything I can, because I'm wow, I'm going to make a return off my stock just by selling it right now that it might take years for me to ever get to, and I might not ever get to it. I feel like for Twitter, this makes a lot of sense for them. I don't think they will sell to Elon, and I do wonder why, because as shareholders, it would make the most sense to. And I understand they want to keep it. Maybe they feel like they have the possibility to monetize it in a way that hasn't been monetized before and actually become higher than that. But I really don't see how. Like I don't see how Twitter will be worth, especially in like a short term. What Elon's willing to buy it for. And I feel like from a business standpoint, it just makes so much sense to sell it right now. Now, you might be like listening to this and being like, well, that makes no sense. Wasn't Twitter just trading at $80 a share, which is like double what they're trading right now? And it's true that they were. Like, a while back, they were trading at $80 a share, and now they're not. But, they shouldn't have been trading at $80 a share to begin with. Like, I think they were extremely overvalued at the time. And when we look at how far Twitter has fallen since then, it shows that the market's really not that confident. Like even Yahoo Finance, like 1 year price target on Twitter is at less than what they're currently trading at. Like it's kind of ridiculous. Like they've lost, almost half their value in like such a short time. But honestly, they should never have reached that value to begin with. Like the fact that they were trading at $80 a share is ridiculous. And I really don't see that happening again anytime soon. And I understand from Twitter's perspective, they're like, hey, just a little bit ago we were trading at like almost double what we're trading at now, and you're not offering that kind of premium on it. Like you're not buying us at $80 a share, which we were at just a little bit ago. Why would we sell it to you at this price? I don't really I understand like the thought process there, but I really doubt they'll ever get to that point. And also, I've heard a lot of people say they're like, fine, like if they won't sell to Elon Musk and Elon really wants control of Twitter, why doesn't he just buy 51% of it? Like get him like own the thing, like get more voting rights than anybody else. Why doesn't he just buy 51%? Then he has control of the business. And well, first off, that's never going to happen. Not that he doesn't have the capital to do so. It's never going to happen because they will never let him. They've already implemented this policy because of this. And I think this is really interesting. So right now, Elon owns right under 10% of Twitter. And he's actually the second largest shareholder. I've seen a lot of people say he's the largest shareholder. He's actually second. Vanguard is higher than him, although I think that was recently became higher. Because he was majority shareholder for a little bit there. But yeah, Vanguard's higher than he is. But, right now he's 9%. Let's say he tries to buy 9% more. Well, what Twitter's going to do, and what they said they'd do, is if he tries to buy more than 15% of the business, they're going to create new shares, which dilutes his ownership position. So if he tries to buy more, they dilute everyone's ownership by creating new shares. If he tries to buy more of those, they dilute it even further. And I think that this could be really bad for Twitter shareholders. Because not only is just Elon Musk getting diluted, we're all getting diluted. Like everyone who owns Twitter is getting diluted when this happens. And it's called a poison pill. But basically, they're going to issue new shares so he'll never get more than like 15% of the business. So just buying 51% of the business and calling it a day, being like, yeah, I own more of this than anybody else. Like I own more of this business than everyone else put together. That's not going to work. It's never going to happen. Like he can never do that. If he really wants control over Twitter, he has to buy the business. And Twitter's never going to sell it to him, or at least not at this price. Like, could he offer enough to actually buy it? He could, but he shouldn't. Because, like I said, I really don't think Twitter is... Well, I'm not a fan of the stock to begin with. I like the business fine, but I'm not... Like, I like the product fine, but I'm not a fan of the actual stock itself. But it doesn't really make financial sense for Elon to do it. And I know he's not doing it for financial reasons, but it just doesn't make much sense. Like there's a lot of other things he can put his money in that would give a lot better returns than Twitter will, and have a lot more potential than something like Twitter. Like Twitter, especially like the US, like it's only a very small amount of people that use it compared to like others. Like I think, if I remember correctly, it's like 200 million people use Twitter every day. Which, don't get me wrong, is a huge number, but it's nowhere near like the number of like Facebook or Instagram or even like TikTok now. Like there's nowhere near like that amount of people. And Twitter's existed for a long time, and it's just shown that a lot of people are just not interested in getting it. Where like they are in like Facebook, Instagram, stuff like YouTube, stuff like that. So yeah, I really don't think I think Elon should not buy Twitter because for him it makes no financial sense. Which I understand it's not why he's doing it, but strictly from a financial reason, it doesn't make any sense. I think Twitter should definitely sell to Elon Musk because, I mean, it's a premium that, yeah, they've been at it before and they've been at like a lot past it. And I understand that goes into the decision process, but I really don't see Twitter reaching those high again. I don't see Twitter reaching $80 a share at least anytime soon. And I feel like for the people running it, like people that own Twitter, if they can get this premium on their stock now, I think it makes a lot of sense to do that. Like if they can get, a significant return on it now, then it makes a lot of sense. And here's the thing, if you believe that this is going to happen, which I do not, I don't think there's any way Twitter sells to Elon. But if you do, you might want to buy some Twitter stock because, with this, with him buying at this price, you get your money back from your shares, and he's buying it at a premium, which means you get money. Same when Microsoft bought Activision or trying to buy Activision. If you bought it right now, you basically are guaranteed like a 20% return. I'm not, because I also don't see any possible way the government allows Microsoft to buy Activision. They might, but I don't see it. I don't think if they do, I think the shares will crash. So I haven't bought any Activision shares because of this. And I think it's even less of a possibility that Elon buys Twitter. But if you do, I mean, that'd be a good way to get a return, and like a pretty easy return. You just buy it, and then when he buys it, you get your money back plus the premium on it. And that's kind of my thoughts on that. I don't think buying Twitter is necessarily a good decision on Elon's part, but I do think Twitter would be stupid not to take his offer because it's a better return they might not ever get to. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Financial Deep Dive with CWT. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel right now and turn that notification bell on. If you're listening to the podcast, subscribe whatever podcast platform you're currently listening on, and follow me on social media at Finance by CWT. Thank you for listening.